Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome everybody. We will wait 2 minutes, give 2 minutes of courtesy to connect everybody, and then we will start with our webinar.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. No matter where you are in the world, you are all welcome. I am Horacio Grigera Naón, Director of the Center on International Commercial Arbitration of the Washington College of Law. Together with me is Professor Bjorn Arp, also of the Washington College of Law. It is my pleasure and honor to introduce our online LLM on international arbitration and business law at the Washington College of Law. It is the first online LLM on arbitration and business law launched from the USA. This is part of the programs and the activities of the Washington College of Law, and particularly its Center on International Commercial Arbitration in the area of arbitration. The international programs of the Washington College of Law, of which international commercial arbitration is a substantial component, are ranked fourth in all the similar programs in the USA. The purpose of our LLM teaching is to provide those who are going to be participating information, education, and practical skills in arbitration, be it investment arbitration or commercial arbitration. It is a part of the programs in international arbitration, the online programs in international arbitration, that the Washington College of Law is already proud to offer to whomever would be interested in this kind of training. We have already a certificate on international commercial arbitration online, a certificate on investment arbitration online, and also these courses offered in Spanish as well. But our initiative on this online LLM in international arbitration and business law comprises each and every aspect of the learning and education of international arbitration. It includes a general course on international commercial arbitration, a general course on investment law arbitration, and it is also combined with other courses, including international law, including international sales, and international business transactions. So it is, because of the broad coverage of this online LLM, what we are striving is to provide a solid formation that is required for any practitioner or potential arbitrator in this area of the law. It is not just learning the skills to properly handle the case, procedurally speaking, but also the substantive legal knowledge that any practitioner in the field needs to have to be able to properly operate in this respect. The faculty includes leading practitioners and experts. I am sure that the list of faculty members can be made available to you if you don't already have it. And after these first introductory words, I leave you with Professor Bjorn Arp, who is going to further give you, before we open it for your questions, will further elaborate on what we are doing and what we are offering. So, Professor Arp.
Yeah, welcome everybody. It's great that you made some time today to be with us here virtually in this webinar. I have prepared a little slideshow for you, so to explain or tell you some more details about this online LLM. Of course, this online LLM would not be possible without the work of the Center on International Commercial Arbitration over the course of more than 15 years in teaching and education in international arbitration, commercial arbitration, investment arbitration, alternative dispute resolution. I have here compiled a list of several of the most important activities that the center has been doing so far. Many of you probably already know the very famous summer program on international arbitration that is held in residence every year here at American University. The online certificate programs Professor Rafael Gurjera already mentioned. The center also organizes an annual conference on international arbitration with very prominent arbitration practitioners exposing on or discussing current issues of arbitration. There's also a biannual symposium on arbitration, as well as other conferences and workshops that we organize over the course of the entire academic year. Very well known is also the two mood arbitration competitions that the center organizes every year or every 2 years in the case of the Spanish language mood arbitration competition. And the center also promotes a number of publications as well as other tailored programs for governments and law firms where we cooperate with partners all over the world to spread the word about international arbitration. The center consists primarily of a number of people. Most of them are here together. It's directed by Professor Rafael Gurjera on. Susana Castiglione, who's also joining us today. She is the assistant director. And then there are a number of faculty members that work very closely with the center. I am one of them, but there's also Professor Claudia Frutos-Petersen, who is a partner as Curtis, Hernando Otero, as well as other experts and academics in this field. Now, let's go to the online or hybrid LLM in international arbitration and business law, which we are inaugurating today. This program is a very interesting offering in the sense that it blends together in an extremely flexible way the traditional in-residence education that you can receive at our university in Washington, D.C., with various degrees of online component up to the point where you can also take the entire program, the entire 24 credits that build this LLM program completely online through courses taught on distance. Here is the curriculum that shows you the many and varied possibilities and opportunities that you have for this LLM program. There are a number of core courses that have been built virtually and that also are actually taught at our law school in residence. So for those of you who want to come to Washington, there's of course the possibility to also take it in Washington, D.C. But these courses can be taken online as well. And as you can see, the list is very broad and covers the main fields of international arbitration, from international commercial arbitration all the way down to investment law, international contracts and sales, business transactions, as well as international law, and of course, BIT arbitration and alternative dispute resolution. They are all be possible to be taken online. In our LLM, we have two courses that we put particular emphasis also on, especially for those of you who come from non-common law trained legal regimes. And these are the courses on legal research and writing, as well as American legal institutions, which broaden your horizons and build a solid foundation of skills that are needed as an attorney practically all over the world, because legal research and writing is very important, and we put a lot of emphasis on this sort of topics as well. Now, the summer program that I mentioned already earlier actually forms part of the curriculum in the way that for those who are particularly interested in the hybrid version of this LLM, they can take the summer course and obtain up to 6 credits from the summer course as well. And this way have the opportunity of staying up to 3 weeks in Washington, DC, and enjoy and experience the way how teaching is done in the United States during the summer semester. And of course, our law school is also very well known for a very solid and very well regarded business law program. And those of you who would come to Washington, DC, again, within the hybrid option, have a very long list of additional business law related courses that they could take as well. So I think it would be hard to find a program that has such a broad array of different options and possibilities of putting together your individualized and customized curriculum for taking the most usefulness out of this LLM program. And then on the bottom of this picture here, you can also see that there are general electives because you can, within the 24 credits of this LLM, also add some credits of other materials, other fields of law, like tax law, international finance law, that you could add to that. The list is so long of courses that our law school offers for LLM students that it was not even possible for me to include the list into the 4 corners of such a PowerPoint slide. You have more than 100 courses that you could choose from if you so wanted at our university. I also want to add some other very important information about this LLM program. So first of all, the idea of flexible time management. This LLM can be taken in 1 year, but it can also be taken in a longer period of time. So you can do it in 2 years, in 1.5 years, and 2 years, or to a maximum of 5 years of duration, which essentially comes down to taking 1 course, maybe 2 courses in 1 semester, which is a very bearable amount of studying pace. And I think that is particularly attractive for professionals who are busy, who have to do, who have to work in their offices and where their time availability is only very limited. So I think the possibility of taking this program in 4 or 5 years can be very attractive for those. The other, I think, important point here is the innovative online learning methodology, because I want to underline that we have put, when we developed this online LLM program, we have put a lot of attention to not just offer some pre-recorded video classes that we offer through online technology, but instead of developing a very substantial, a very detail-oriented syllabus for each subject matter, where you, of course, will have to watch some pre-recorded materials, but where you also have live classes with faculty experts and practitioners, where you can discuss and review the materials of the course. You will have specific exercises that very often direct you to read and work with original materials, with the sources of the respective fields of law that you are covering, so that over time you really become an expert, so that you really understand the legal tools with which you have to work also in your professional career. Another idea that is dear to us is the practical skills training. Because even within the LLM program, up to 3 credits can be recognized for internships and practice exercises that you may do at other institutions or law firms as part of your training and preparation for your arbitration practice. We support applications for internships at a wide variety of institutions. On the bottom of the slide, I have listed a few of the institutions where in previous years students of our LLM program have interned, but the list is much longer actually. We have very good relationships with all major important institutions that do something in the world of international arbitration, and we support our students to engage with them and to be a competitive and successful candidate for internships. And of course, a very important point also is the idea of scholarships. We try to support the students that have sufficient merit, that have shown academic ability, academic capacity in their thrive to specialize and to delve into the professional world of international arbitration. So our university, in cooperation with the center, has developed a very robust structure of scholarships that are available to those who want to come and who have enough merit, academic merit. In some specific circumstances, also the financial situation of the candidate may be taken into account for obtaining discounts or scholarships. One very particular attractive aspect is the special merit scholarship in international arbitration, a specific scholarship that we offer, but there's only one scholarship each year that we grant to a very distinct candidate, which would entail a full scholarship for this LLM program. But there are also other ways of obtaining discounts. In this context, I also want to underline that if you are enthusiastic and if you are really interested in specializing in international arbitration, you may also find external support from other institutions, from your employer maybe, who would see a benefit in you obtaining this education in international arbitration at our institution. And that may also be a good way of obtaining training in this field. So I leave you here with a few impressions from our law school, from our activities, and where you can see us all in action at the law school, or studying or working in some way at the law school. And you also have our contact information, the email as well as the telephone number on which you can reach us at any time, and feel free to contact us. So these are just some basic ideas that I wanted to convey to lay the ground for a more thorough discussion with all of you. There is a chat function, or there should be a chat function available to each one of you. And if you want, please feel free to type in any questions or comments you may have about this program, and either Horacio, Susana, or I, we would be more than happy to respond to any questions. It seems that we responded all questions, but I'm sure this is not. I may add at this point that, of course, this LLM program is taught in English. All the courses are taught in English. However, we offer 2 of the certificate courses in international commercial arbitration, as well as international investment arbitration. We offer them also in Spanish. And that may also be a very good introduction if you are you know, not so fluent in English. I see there's a first question. Yeah, that's a these are very, very important questions. Yeah, that's a question that is about what difference exists between the program on international arbitration as compared to the ILSP LLM, which is the traditional LLM that is offered here at American University or Washington College of Law. I may answer that question quickly. The difference, there are various differences. First of all, we are launching here an online and/or hybrid LLM program, which so far hasn't been available in the ILSP context. The ILSP is only in residence, so you would have to come at least an entire year to our university and take the courses in residence. The online and hybrid versions now would allow you to stay, for instance, in Colombia and to take all the courses out of your place of residence in Colombia, or eventually combine with some of the in-residence courses that would interest you, particularly the summer program or even a semester course you could take in residence and combine as you wish. I think that is a very important distinction. The other important distinction, of course, is the subject matter. ILSP is a general LLM program that is internationally focused, but not specifically arbitration focused. This LLM is specifically an LLM in international arbitration. So we try to train lawyers, and at least you need to have 12 credits of arbitration, of specifically arbitration-related courses in order to qualify for this LLM. Okay. Now, there was another question, which is also very important. So the deadlines for the online program are August 1st. So there is still about 6 weeks to go for registration. If you decide to take this program in fall 2020, which would be possible, of course, we are launching this for fall 2020, you would have until August 1st to submit your registration. And the registration forms are available online on the website of the LLM. Let's see. Yeah, another question, very important as well, is related to the New York bar. Well, the New York bar, and that is not related to the university. It's the New York bar that requires that the courses taken within an LLM program to qualify to be accepted to sit for the New York bar exam are in residence courses. So for that reason, the online LLM, the courses would not allow you to go to take the New York bar. Now, there is a particular situation that I want to highlight for this fall semester 2020. Exceptionally, in fall 2020, the New York bar has decided to allow that people take courses that generally are taught in residence, but due to the coronavirus crisis are being taught online, to qualify to admit those courses that people take for the New York bar. So if this is something that interests you, I would actually encourage you to get in touch with me or with my colleague Susana Castiglione, so that we can discuss this further and see if there's any way to adjust to your interests if you want to take the New York bar. But it's I think particularly right now in times of coronavirus, that is a very legitimate question. The next question is there a possibility to learn a third language during the LLM? I may also take on that question. No? I would actually encourage you. Maybe Horacio wants to say something about that as well. I mean, if you want to become an arbitration practitioner, it is useful to have solid legal knowledge in more than one language, ideally in more than 2 languages. And so I would say yes. But from that perspective of arbitration practice, I think Horacio can tell you even first-hand experience. Horacio?
Thank you, Bjorn. Well, the languages that are more currently used in international arbitration are Spanish, English, and French. However, we are seeing other language possibilities that could become important depending where you would like to develop your practice. For instance, we have seen an important flow of cases coming from Brazil, so Portuguese could be also an interesting one. But anything that expands and enhances your multicultural knowledge is an asset in international arbitration. Bjorn Arp, for instance, is fluent in German as well.
Thank you so much, Horacio. Yeah, I mean, as you can see, there are reasons why you should certainly consider that. And in Washington, D.C., it's possible, but maybe also in your place of residence, it's possible. So so that makes total sense.
Can I yes? Add something? That maybe the question comes from someone who's interested in knowing if there's a time available, you know, to engage in something like that when you are doing your LLM. And maybe you can talk a little bit about the possibility of doing an LLM in 2 years or 3 years, and what is the limit?
Yes, in fact, the limit, and that is also very important. I mean, the whole idea of the online education or online LLM is to provide sufficient flexibility so that you can manage your time on your own. And as I mentioned before, you have the possibility of doing this LLM in up to 5 years. So within this time frame, so at a minimum 1 year, because generally you would need at least 1 year to finish the 24 credits of this LLM program, but you have a maximum of 5. So within this interval of time, you need to organize and see how you can. But of course, if you schedule this like taking in 1.5 years or in 2 years, it is very realistic to think that you can also study thoroughly another language, and in this way then end up having this the LLM degree together with your you know, advanced knowledge of some additional language, be it Spanish, be it Portuguese, as we mentioned before. Susana, you want to say something?
There are more questions. There's actually an interesting question from someone who participated in our summer program, and there is a scholarship that we usually offer to summer program participants. So the question, I believe, is if that scholarship is available. And yes, it is. As far as I know, you need to present an essay, and I believe the scholarship is a 50% scholarship. And always, all our summer participants receive, special consideration from the institution. It's also important that you can, those credits you have earned during the summer program, if you have passed the exam, you can apply them to your LLM, so you don't have to take the courses again.
Exactly. So there
are more questions, Bjorn, if you want. I don't know if you are.
No, that represents a very stark discount actually on your price. So you can make use. You can actually also make use of any credits that you earned through the online certificate program. Both the summer and the online could eventually be considered as a way to reduce the amount of credits that you need to register again in this LLM program. Another question is related to the language requirement, talking about language. Of course, as I said, this LLM is taught in English, and the general English proficiency requirements that are applicable to the in-residence part of this LLM are also applicable to the online. And this means that you need to have a good TOEFL score. TOEFL or some other program, some other language testing service. The most well-known, actually, however, is TOEFL, of course. And the cutoff is at currently, I think, 84 points. So, and it's not too difficult, but it certainly requires a certain ability to write and to speak in English. So that you will have to demonstrate anyways. And this also plays into another question that I saw there, which is related to the application deadlines for scholarship. So if you decide to file for a scholarship in the terms like also my colleague Susana Castiglione said already, that you need to have a sort of essay and explain this, your scholarship requirement and the circumstances, like for instance the fact that you already took a summer program previously. All that for the online LLM is still possible to submit together with your application until August 1st. So there is still plenty of time to get that documentation together and to also, as I said, file for the scholarship. That is absolutely possible. You can still do this until August 1st. Yes, that is so true. I see somebody of you has been in touch with my very esteemed colleague, Cha Pham. She also mentioned to one of you that Duolingo is acceptable as a means to prove your English proficiency knowledge, and that is right. Yes, of course. So and there are other systems that are acceptable. Then there's the question, if I was a moot court participant, can I ask or look for a scholarship? Well, since Susana Castiglione is in charge of the moot court, I will leave this question to her.
I'm not aware of any scholarship related to moot competition participants.
Well, but I think we can take it into consideration when evaluating a general scholarship, because the moot court is a lot of work, and I think that somebody who successfully participated in the moot court competition has shown inevitably a strong interest and a certain vocation for international arbitration. So so that is certainly a very good plus point for any application for that. Now another question is if there is a minimum experience required. Now in regard to that, I would, and maybe Horacio can mention also something to that. What does it mean to have minimum experience? I think the LLM is certainly at a high academic level and it is demanding. But I think the courses are sufficiently flexible to provide this sort of education, also including the needed ground knowledge to make it possible that you do not need any particular previous arbitration practice But maybe Horacio, you can elaborate on that point a bit.
Sure.
Or Susana, yeah.
You know, what I wanted to say is that to apply to an LLM and to be admitted, you need to be an attorney, a lawyer. So you already have the knowledge, independently of the practice, that you can have to handle any of the courses we offer. Of course, we would encourage you to start with general courses, you know, you know, our basic pillars to this program, which is the international commercial arbitration, international investment arbitration. You know, you as a lawyer are ready to take and be a successful student to any of these courses. Experience is sometimes something more desirable when you are looking for scholarships. Many institutions, I know the ICC and ICSID, they sometimes want people to can hit the ground running. So people who already have had experience working in arbitration, that would be certainly a plus for internships.
I don't have anything to add to what has been said. What is important is you have your law degree from your university, and you will find that you can do it. Of course, those who do not come from an Anglo-Saxon background will have to get adapted to the kind of teaching that is required, the kind of case law analysis that is required. But I tell you, when I did my LLM many years ago, I didn't have any experience in that respect. And you can manage it. And it is a wonderful way of expanding your perspective as to how law works. In international commercial arbitration, when you get in practice, at the end of the day, you forget if you come from the civil law system or the common law system, you become a practitioner. You become somebody who knows how to handle these cases, both in terms of substantive law and procedural law. So what matters is that you have your law degree. Everything else you're going to get along as you go.
You see another question, Bjorn?
There is also a very interesting question about graduation requirements. So this LLM largely follows the graduation requirements that are also applicable at our law school for the in residence part. And these graduation requirements essentially contain to have done one or two papers. One paper if it is connected to some other activity, like for instance the internship. I think it's only required one paper, and if there's none like that, it is two papers. But generally, in the course of the 24 credits that you are taking at the law school, it is very easy to say that you will have those papers together, because there is writing involved in most of those courses. So besides that, there's no particular graduation requirement. There is the graduation party, however, a graduation ceremony at the end of the LLM, which I also should mention here. And that, of course, you can take part in it virtually if you do not have the opportunity to come to Washington, D.C. for that purpose. But you can also participate in it live or in person in Washington, D.C. and come and take part in the graduation ceremony, which generally is a very, very nice event every year. Susanna, you wanted to? Yeah.
Yes, I know. I would like to mention, because it's a question that I receive often, is that your degree is an LLM degree that that's exactly the same degree that will receive someone here who in residence is taking classes. So your diploma doesn't say that it's online or anything like that. You are taking courses approved by the ABA, the American Bar Association. Probably you know that law schools are in the US regulated by the American Bar Association, which is the Association of Attorneys, rather than the Ministry of Education that as is happening in many countries. So you are going to receive a degree like everybody receives, and you are going to participate in a graduation ceremony, which is wonderful. Actually, you can see the picture down there. And usually it's a ceremony, it takes place in the American University campus, and it with participation of JD, LLMs, and also SJD or doctorate students.
I think another question was related to the tuition of this LLM, and I think I need to talk about that as well. Of course, the tuition in this program is identical to the in-residence tuition, so the price for the courses is the same, which is at about $2,200, $2,300 for each credit. And as we said already, there are 24 credits that need to be taken. As you can probably realize, if you want to take an LLM in the United States, generally, you have to calculate that amount of money for the tuition, of course, in any given LLM practically in this country. But also you need to add at least the same amount in addition or more. On average, I think they have calculated in Washington, D.C., the living cost for 1 year can be up to $40,000, $50,000 or more for a year. That with the online version of this LLM, you will be able to save because you're not going to have those very high rental costs, living costs, for which Washington D.C. is so famous. So I just want to point that out because, of course, when you plan on doing an LLM in the United States, you need to be realistic with the costs, not only the registration fee, but also the other costs involved in that. And in this context, I think it is particularly, at least that's my personal view, maybe Susanna and Horacia have also something to add to this, but if I look to the curriculum, I think it's particularly attractive to consider the combination of the online version of this LLM during the 2 semesters, the fall and spring semesters, and consider taking or coming to Washington, D.C. for the 3 weeks of the summer program. That would really round up the experience because you would get to know Washington, D.C. You would have an opportunity to interact with very prominent arbitration practitioners in this relatively short amount of time, which from the point of view of costs will not be, comparatively at least, not be such a burden for you. And obtain the degree after that. But maybe Susanna, you want to add something?
No, the procedure is basically, you know, you pay for the courses you take. So there is a price set for the academic credit. So let's say you start doing your LLM and the first semester because you are working, or you can take 1 course, 3 credits. So you pay for the 3 credits, or 6 credits, you pay for the 6 credits. So you go and you advance through this program, paying for the courses you take. It's not like you have to put the money up front for the whole degree.
Yes, that's true.
I don't know if this is totally accurate, but when I did my LLM, that was the way we did it.
No, it's true. That's true. Yeah. You would pay as you go, as you say. No, that's the way. So again, we have designed this LLM with a very high degree of flexibility and trying to integrate the different elements, educational elements that the Center on International Commercial Arbitration is offering right now and has offered in the past. This is particularly relevant for this LLM, the online certificate program as well as the summer program. And I think combined all these different elements that many of you, as I could even see from the questions that you posed, have done, and that could qualify to obtain reductions in credit costs, together with the fact that the curriculum is possible to spread it out in time over the course of a maximum of 5 years, actually makes the whole experience very bearable, I would say. And at the same time, you are obtaining a degree from a university in Washington, D.C., from one of the most prestigious centers that dedicate to international dispute resolution and international arbitration in particular. So we have tried to offer a wise combination between high quality and a reasonable pricing schemes and pricing systems for this LLM.
Please no. It's a webinar.
Let me see. Yes, so there's another interesting question, a question that I actually cannot answer, in spite of the fact that I'm a very avid user of our library. But the question is if the Oxford Legal Research Library is connected to our library. I cannot give an answer for sure. Can you just no,
but I think I can. You know, through this experience we have now with online teaching due to the health situation, you as a student, as part of the law school and the law school community, would have access to the library. Of course, you cannot be here and check the books, but certainly the library has an incredible databases, to access to Westlaw, to access to all the law reviews in the United States, to access the Clue Arbitration, to access to the ICC library. So there is a huge, and lately everything is available, online. So even in a lot of books. So and this experience of having to teach online it has made the library to be ready to make a lot of their materials available online. So people who are doing distance education can also access to them.
Yes, I may add to this, and on an anecdotal level, that I have never had a situation where I was not able to access or to find or get a book or an article that I was looking for, where the library would have said to me, Björn, I cannot get you that publication. I really have never had such a situation. So in one way or another, it is very easy and very effective actually to work with that. What's more is that our library has dedicated personnel to international law. So if there are requests, very specialized requests for anything, we can actually work with that personnel that would dedicate some time to locate any resources. So although I cannot answer at this point the specific question about the Oxford Legal Research Library, I would be very surprised if there's anything that you are looking for that you could not get through our library research system. So but it's really a very, very good library, I have to say.
One thing I would like to add is that the Washington College of Law Library has interlibrary connections with other libraries, not only in the US, but also all over the world. So the resources are not limited as to what the library actually has, and not even limited to what you can find in the libraries across the USA, but has also interlibrary connections in Europe and other parts of the world. So this is also part of the wealth of materials that can be accessed from the Washington College of Law Library.
Yes, and Good. So I'm not sure if we have missed or skipped any other question that comes up here. If any of the attendees are noticing that any of their questions hasn't been answered, that would not be fair. So please remind us, and we would be happy to answer now. And
or later,
I would like you.
You can email us.
yeah, you have the email address there. You can please feel free to contact us. That email address goes to all three of us.
I would like to add something. I would like to ask you to explain how our online platform works, because this is not an LLM we're offering via Zoom, because universities are physically closed. We've been working for at least 2 years in this program, and we are also based this experience on our online certificate programs. And I don't know if someone who's participating in this webinar had the opportunity to take our online programs, but it's a completely different system than Zoom. Can you add something about that, Bjorn?
Yes, of course. So the online methodology, the special online methodology that we have developed over the years here is a very, or we strive to make it very comprehensive, in the sense that it's not just going to be some pre-recorded video that is on the website that you can watch and then see what you do with it. All the courses are developed in a way where there is a high degree of interaction and actual presence of faculty experts available to you to clarify any doubt, to do exercises, and to work the respective subjects that you are taking there. And ultimately, this methodology comprises several elements. There are, of course, some pre-recorded videos. There are live classes with these faculty experts that we have available for that. There are exercises, and these exercises can be very varied. There may be questions and answers. There may be discussions. There may be presentations on certain topics that we distribute among the participants. But what I think is very important with all these exercises and readings and this interaction between the professor and the students that we do that we try to do is that we try to approach that we try to convey the actual materials of international legal practice to the students. So so this means that in our LLM, you will be reading the leading cases, the relevant cases for each field. You will be working and applying the rules, for instance, applicable in international commercial arbitration situations to specific fact patterns. So you will be doing the reasoning that you would at some point also be doing in actual legal practice. And so I think that really makes this LLM special, and that makes this LLM particularly attractive, because studying in our LLM will not be a waste of time or some academic thinking. It will be a training of those skills and knowledge that you actually need to be handling on a professional level an international arbitration, or we also have mediation courses, we have international investment arbitration courses. The reasoning and the legal tools that you need to have, that's what we convey in this LLM program.
That also means that you pretty much decide.
So if we don't have any more questions.
Okay.
Sorry?
I can't.
Sana, you were saying something?
You're cutting up.
I was saying that in Zoom classes, usually you have to attend the class when the professor is there, and like it's actually an in-residence class. But here you pretty much decide when you access the material. So the main content is not delivered by the professor, but by a series of documents, lectures, questions and answers, and then you meet with the professor to discuss that content, which is truly what online education is. So the students becomes very important, and the professor what the professor does is just answer your questions, guide you, rather than constantly delivering content or conferencing or speaking.
Yes, very true.
If we are at the end, I would like to say a few words of we are at the end. You tell me. Yeah. I do not know if there are more questions coming.
No, I think there are no other questions. I think we answered as good as we could all the questions that came up. The participants have our contact information, so please feel free to follow up with us. I mean, we are all three of us. We are fully available to talk to you. And Horacio, if you want to close, if you want to say a few words to close.
I'm going to say a few closing words. Thank you very much for having joined us to learn about our online LLM in international commercial arbitration and business law. Let me tell you a couple of things that I think are very important. I know that virtual teaching is not the same as seeing the student and the professor being face-to-face in a classroom. However, for us, those who come through our programs, be they virtual programs or not, you join the Washington College of Law and Center of Arbitration, Commercial Arbitration family. For us, it is very important to be in touch with you during your learning experience and after that. And there is one thing that the second thing I wanted to underline is that normally those who go through our courses and of course who earn good grades find working positions not only in the USA but internationally. We have many former students who are active in law firms all over the world who have taken our classes on international arbitration. So I think this is an additional factor that is important for me to share with you, these two factors. Number one, you're going to become part of our family. And number two, I think that having gone through our courses may pave your road in your further professional undertakings. Having said that, please take care of yourselves in these uncertain times, and we hope that we are going to see you again either virtually or in person. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.